Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Hugo Girl Spooky Special, where we're gonna talk about Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice. Now I've said it 3 times. Oh no.
Oh no, Teddy just farted.
Teddy always just farted. You don't have to say anything special.
One of my most treasured pictures is from one of our former spooky specials where I took a picture of Haley with her headphones on and her microphone and her sheet ghost.
We were all sheet ghosts. Weren't we all 3?
I don't have a picture of myself though, only Haley.
Oh no, there's a picture of like
There's
all
a
of us.
picture of the 3 of us on our Instagram.
Oh, sweet.
We'll post it to stories.
Okay.
So people can see it if I remember. Before we get into the movie, we have much housekeeping because we had our wonderful guest, Redfern John Barrett, last time.
Redfern.
And we did not want to make Red sit through us reading a bunch of stuff that did not pertain to them. So we're behind. So we're just going to do it now. How's about it? First, I would like to share something. I don't know if I told you guys. When I went on a work trip last month to Colorado, it was for training, and someone in my group told me, apropos of nothing, that I have a really good radio voice.
This is true.
To which I said, what? What? I was like, actually, I have a podcast, and my 2 friends have really good radio voices, and I am the cartoon voice. And she was like, no, you sound so good. And I was like, oh. And she said, so say that on your podcast. She said, Lisa Ramsey from Florida says you have a good radio voice. So
I guess Lisa didn't listen to the podcast to tell the rest of us if we have good radio voices.
not during the training, she was working.
She also doesn't know us. So.
But Lisa, if you did actually subscribe and listen, thanks for saying that. I keep thinking about it.
Lisa ain't wrong.
I don't know.
These are facts.
I think my
facts.
courtroom lady voice is not the same as my regular /podcast voice. Yeah. I have a grown up voice.
I want to hear your courtroom voice now.
Well, no, you don't.
Yes, I do. Was that it?
And
Maybe.
in the book Contact, they talk about Ellie has her physics voice.
Really?
Yeah, and because she was in the book,
code
she's like,
switching.
yeah, she's like in the
Totally.
60s, a woman in physics, and she had to be like, mass acceleration, So
Science.
Not tee-hee-hee mass acceleration.
yeah, I'm just a girl. I don't know. That reminds me. My girlfriend has a black cat, and all of her pets have voices, but the black cat Puffin talks like a transatlantic woman, so it's always like, I'm not going outside, see? And every time I do it, I laugh.
That's so cute.
I was watching a YouTube video about Ocean's 8, which I really want to watch again now.
It's so good.
I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
It's called Ocean's 8 because they ate.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh,
It came out like 10 years ago.
That's now my headcanon.
But they're talking
before 8 was.
Yeah, before it was back when it was just a number.
they were talking about Kate Blanchett's transatlantic accent in that
it's so
movie.
good.
It's so odd.
Also,
But it's
how she's in love with what's her face from Speed.
Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. It's such a good movie, and Rihanna's in it. Oh, it's so good.
I've been meaning to do a Oceans Film Festival and just
Sure.
watch all of them.
Are we allowed to? Can I link that YouTube in our show notes?
Do whatever
It's
you
so
want.
funny. Everybody should go watch it.
The first one, Ocean's 11, is one of my favorite movies. It's so fun.
Especially, we watched that recently, and then I wanted to watch all of them. Didn't we, Kevin? Didn't we watch?
Yeah, we watched 11. We just haven't rented any of the others yet.
Oh, we need to watch the other ones. We rented it, kids. We went to a movie store, and we rented, I was about to say a DVD. We did not rent a DVD, because we're not animals. We rented a Blu-ray.
Right.
A 4K Blu-ray?
That one was just a regular Blu-ray.
Of Ocean's 11?
Listen, if they have a 4K,
Do we need a 4K? Of Ocean's 11?
if they have a 4K, Kevin wants the 4K.
Listen, okay. I'm not judging a lot, just a little.
Yeah, just a little. I exchange slightly amused glances with the movie store guy whenever 4K comes up, because I'm like, I think it's the same thing. They're just reselling you things you already have. Oh,
Kevin's got thoughts about that.
Ever since I got a PlayStation 5, I no longer have a slot for DVDs.
I have a PlayStation 4 that I could play DVDs on if I had a DVD to play. I do have a lot of DVDs. I have my horror DVDs.
Let's tell the story of how Amy got a bag of DVDs years ago.
Oh, I don't know about it.
There's no story. I went to a guy's house and got a bag of horror DVDs.
But
From Craigslist or something?
I don't remember.
But I accompanied her in case it was a murderer. Like, oh, come get this literal brown paper sack of DVDs. What?
Good stuff in there.
Was there a list? No, just take these DVDs.
It was the guy
It's like
come inside. I have rabbits you can pet.
It's like selling a lot on eBay. You know how they sell a lot of DVDs.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea how I found that guy.
It had to have been Craigslist or Facebook or something.
Must have been.
It was
Anyway,
like somewhere in Grant Park too.
bag of DVDs. Still have them.
When you guys were like, I guess I could watch on my PlayStation, I was about to be like, how do you watch movies, guys? And then I remembered.
The internet?
Yeah.
The internet, yeah.
That's now the traditional way to watch movies. Kevin, I'm sorry I teased you about 4K.
It's okay.
There's a whole class, especially of men that like boutique Blu-ray DVDs. It's a thing. They got
I don't
cool
think I've ever
packaging.
watched a Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I've watched a laser disc.
You watched
Me
it?
too.
You watched a 4K.
What did I watch?
Blade Runner 2049.
That looked great.
Yeah.
That really did look great. That's not even irony. I swear it looked great.
Kevin remembers every movie that everyone else has seen. Like when we're at the movie store, I'm like, have I seen that? And he's like, yes, you saw it last year. Or he'll be like, no, you haven't seen that one. Or he'll say, yes, remember you said X, Y, and Z about it. I'm like, really? Huh. Okay. This is going to be a very free-form episode, listener.
People like to listen to us talk. Otherwise, they wouldn't listen to the
That's
podcast.
true.
And when you really like podcasts that I like it when they just chat about their kids or whatever.
And when you have
kids.
a great radio voice like I do, people like to listen to it. No, everyone's like,
I started thinking about Jeremy Bearimy. So
Are you thinking about your cat, Jeremy Bearimy, or the concept of Jeremy Bearimy?
my cat, Jeremy Bearimy. Because I said I didn't have any kids, and then my brain was like, oh, but Jeremy Bearimy is 2 years old. And then I thought about
You have a
that
toddler.
picture of Jeremy Bearimy.
Oh, my kids are 10 and about 11 or 12.
Oh, that middle school age is tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
I think we're at 2 and 10. I think.
Got tweens over here. Okay, I have a WorldCon oversight corner. I need to add a few things that I didn't add in my WorldCon report. Number one, I want to say thank you to Espana Sheriff, finalist for Best Fan Artist, who was my excellent date to the Hugos. And she was an excellent date in no small part because she shared her potatoes with me
Oh.
at the Hugo reception dinner when I was not allowed to have any potatoes because I declined to also take chicken. At the Hugo reception, they had several food options, and I was like, oh, look at all these vegetables. Oh, those potatoes look good. And I said, can I get some potatoes? And they said, no, you have to get the chicken. You can only have potatoes if you get the chicken.
It's like the Pink Floyd song.
What's the Pink Floyd song?
Well, like you can't have the something without the meat. Never mind.
I believe you.
Yeah.
Can't have your pudding if you don't
there
eat your
we
meat.
go.
Yeah.
A potato's not a pudding. Anyway, so then I basically didn't have much to eat. So Espana gave me some potatoes.
It's funny because vegetarianism is no longer new. It's not 1988.
Right. Right. And the people who were dishing out the food were like on the younger side, and they were just like, they had their orders.
Yeah.
I'm just following orders, ma'am. If you take potatoes, you must also take this dead bird and eat it.
But the logic is that if you were to take both, the same amount of potatoes would be gone.
Right.
They would just be left with a surplus of chicken, which they could then eat.
Maybe somebody wants 2 chickens.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
find
true.
a buddy.
Maybe there was
It's
somebody,
paleo.
keto or whatever, and they wanted 2 chickens. But then Kevin was allowed to have potatoes.
Well, no, I went to a different station. They were out of potatoes, but they just let me have whatever I wanted.
They didn't try to force. Well, because the only requirement was to take chicken with the potatoes. So if they were out of potatoes, then they couldn't very well force you to take chicken.
Well, there are other things that were like meat and side, and they just let me take whatever sides I wanted.
Oh, there were other
irrespective of
meats?
that. Yeah.
Oh, I just went to the wrong station, guys.
You should have been like, chicken, please.
Haley just mimed me dumping the chicken in
And
the
this
garbage
isn't a
can.
visual medium. Just dump the chicken on the floor.
I also mentioned meeting Zaggins, the wonderful dog of Adri Joy, but I failed to mention meeting Adri.
I think that's how it goes with dogs,
I
right?
mean, it was implied, but Adri is a very nice human person. And before Worldcon, Kevin and I met Adri for lunch in London, and then she and Zaggins walked us to the Thames, where we then went on a delightful boat tour. And in Glasgow, we met her parents, who seemed sweet and delightful. And Adri wore a jellyfish hat to the Hugos, and she gave an incredible speech, which you can watch on YouTube. And I was just really happy to meet her after being internet friends for a long time. And I realized that I only mentioned the dog. And Adri, as a dog lover, probably understands that. But I was like, I would like to mention my human friend. And the last thing I wanted to mention, the little placard part of the Hugo trophies for Nerds of a Feather. Haley, I'm sure you saw this because Haley is a Nerds of a Feather contributor. Their trophy said WordCon instead of WorldCon. It was very funny, and I think it's already been corrected. But they said WordCon, and I made the joke probably too many times. Oh, you guys, you won the spelling bee. WordCon.
WordCon.
And Adri's name was spelled Artie on
Artie.
hers. Artie Joy won the WordCon.
This is why copywriters are important.
Exactly. But I do think they fixed it promptly, and everyone had a very good sense of humor about it. It was awfully funny.
Have we gotten our fixed trophies yet?
Nope, and my cleaner did mine in finally.
Oh.
It is utterly destroyed now.
Ben Yallow assured us that they're on the way.
Oh my God.
Me.
Kevin,
Word
do you
from
want
the mouth.
to
From
give your
Give us the
update?
mail.
Your Dragon Con update?
I don't know. Do I?
I don't know. That's why I asked you. Kevin
We ran into
confronted. Kevin confronted.
ran into Ben Yallow at Dragon Con
Ran into.
since he was not allowed to go to Worldcon, and presented him with a I won. What does ours say?
I won a Hugo in Chengdu, and all I got was this lousy ribbon. Which Liz Batty from Octothorpe podcast suggested that.
Yeah, and that just turned into a discussion of the problems with the trophies and
Not a real discussion.
being talked at about the trophies.
I stood to
You
the
received a
side.
speech.
Yeah.
I was an absolute piece of shit wife. I stood off to
No.
the side, furiously texting a Hugo finalist group chat about what was going on, and
We needed
did not help.
We needed our woman on
You
the
were
scene.
the man on the scene. Yeah, I was about to say, that's not shit wife. That's man on the scene.
Just reporting, just the facts.
Yeah.
And the facts were that Ben Yellow was very good at just overwhelming a situation with a lot of words.
Uh-huh.
He did seem to think the ribbon was funny.
Yeah.
He chuckled at the
I
ribbon.
chuckled.
You were also texting in transatlantic too, right?
Absolutely, I was. Ben Yellow is right over there.
Why is it always fun?
I don't know. It is so funny.
You're
That's
Jennifer
just it.
Jason Leigh in the Hudsucker Proxy.
Okay.
Have you seen that one? Oh, it's so good.
Wait, Kevin, have I seen
Have
it?
you seen it?
No.
Okay, got to see that one. It's good. Put it on your list.
That's the early Coen Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mailbag?
Mhm.
We got a very nice email from Tristram. And Tristram said, I was enjoying listening to your latest podcast, 5 stars, by the way, and excited to hear you are covering A Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Vinge next. See, this was from a long time ago. My favorite SF novel until I read A Deepness in the Sky that followed it. I'm looking at a signed copy on my bookcase as I write this, may read it again, IDK, and was bouncing up and down when you discussed the singularity. Why? Because it was Werner Vinge himself who really set the term in use within a scientific paper he published in 1993. And Tristram provided a link. Maybe I'll remember to put that in the show notes. Interestingly, or perhaps scarily, we are now at the last years of the timescale that Werner set for the singularity becoming real.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, so that was a fun email. And then I got a text from our friend Hetty, who is a local friend and listener, about our Time War episode.
Oh, cool.
And she was really looking forward
She's
to
going way back.
Yeah, I know. She was really looking forward to that episode. And she said, it was so good. I really appreciated you talking about how you only read the first 30 pages the first time you tried and then stopped. And Amy saying she had to go back and reread once she understood what was happening. That was validating. I felt it was a difficult read and people seemed to paint it as a, quote, quick, easy read. And I was like, this is dense and I don't know what's happening, lol. But it was so worth it by the end. I love all the references that Amy caught, and purple prose had been lost on me. So good.
No.
Thanks, Hetty.
Me.
Yeah. And this is not the first, second, or third time that someone has reached out and been like, thanks for saying you didn't understand something. I think a lot of people, if they don't understand things, they feel bad about it, and you don't need to feel bad
It's
about
okay
it.
to not understand things. In fact, that makes good conversations happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say about a quarter of the book we read, I'm like, huh?
Yeah. How did I get here? I
I'm
don't
in
know.
school for like up to like 18th grade, and I still can't read a lot of these books.
And we got there's a new Adri in town, y'all.
Ooh.
We got a super sweet email from listener Adri, who's not Adri Joy of Nerds of a Feather fame. We've got a new friend, Adri. And this was a longer email, so I excerpted some of it. with permission. And Adri said, I grew up reading my dad's books, which included Heinlein, Andre Norton, Asimov, Piers Anthony, he's more fantasy than sci-fi, and many more classic SF names. I didn't read as many of the classics as he did, and I absolutely loved Anne McCaffrey's Dragons and Pern novels. Most are way less rapey than the first book. I think my dad would have enjoyed your show. He liked pointing me at fantasy and sci-fi with kick-ass lead women or books written by women in the genres. I felt reconnected to my dad's memory listening to you talk about titles I remember from his bookshelves.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. And I screenshotted that and sent it to you guys, and we were all like, cry emoji. It's so nice. That was really nice. And also, that leads us to our topic today because Adri suggested that we do a Beetlejuice episode.
That's an excellent segue.
Thank you. I had this email earlier because it came earlier chronologically, and I was like, but wait, it would be a good segue. It's also good for me to talk about how I rearranged things and thought about segues. Great radio. All right. Do y'all have, did we already say? Yeah, we said Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So, anybody have reviews?
Well, I have some facts. We can start with facts.
Oh, sure.
Per usual.
I have a fact in my head.
Yeah.
So Beetlejuice 1, Beetlejuice singular, 1988 film. It grossed $84 million on a $15 million budget.
Wowee.
Yeah.
And that's back then, too.
Got an Oscar for Best Makeup.
Oh, yeah.
It got 3 Saturn Awards, which I had to look up. I hadn't heard of those. Saturn Awards, Best Horror Film, Best Makeup, and my favorite one, Best Supporting Actress for Sylvia Sidney, who played Juno, the caseworker.
Oh, yeah.
She was an old-timey, old movie star. Yeah.
And apparently, there's been an animated series, video games, and a 2018
musical.
I watched the animated series.
I love the
as a
animated
kid.
series.
I didn't know any of this.
I think it was you were probably a couple years too old, but it was like right when we were young. Yeah.
How dare you?
I watched it.
Uh-oh.
So-
Kevin watched it. You don't have cable, though.
So it's not because I'm old.
Yeah.
Well, I also didn't have, I guess I had cable when I was littler.
I mean, it's probably on like ABC or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Beetlejuice 2024 had different writers. I thought that was obvious.
Yeah.
It felt obvious.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. It has grossed $434 million on an estimated $100 million budget. It is the 10th highest grossing film of 2024.
Wowee.
Different. There's been a Polish controversy.
Oh.
No awards yet.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why Monica Bellucci was in it. Turns out Tim is maybe dating.
Yeah.
Oh, they're definitely dating, and she's just hot.
And she's hot.
What's the Polish controversy?
Jenna, or what's her name? Jenna Ortega's character.
Yeah.
I think Astrid was dressed as Marie Curie and called
okay.
her a French physicist or chemist.
Yeah, she married into French.
Yeah,
Yes.
so she's Polish. But
Oh.
and apparently that really mattered to her. She was very serious about her Polish heritage.
Yeah,
And so-
okay.
Polish people, I'm among them. We have been disparaged in the past. So
Yep, so I get it. So the Polish dub changed that line and said that instead of calling her a French chemist, I can't remember if it's chemist or physicist, they called her a Polish one.
yeah, scientist, something. Yeah.
So no awards, but a controversy.
Okay. I mean, that's like on topic for a show about Hugo things.
Yeah.
That's our Hugo connection. There's an award controversy.
My 2 facts are, the end of Beetlejuice, they sing Who Left the Cake Out in the Rain. That is sung by none other than the first Dumbledore, Richard Harris.
What?
He was an actor and a singer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought that was wild.
I've only heard the lady singing version of that.
I know.
I don't know that song.
It's in the... Do you remember in Beetlejuice, like at the end where they're...
Absolutely not.
The cake is like flowing and they're like,
It's like the big end piece
during
of the
the
movie.
wedding.
There's a cake.
There was the 7-minute long sequence.
Yeah.
You were like, is this still happening?
Yeah.
After about 5 minutes.
Oh, like in the
Someone
dream
left the cake
No,
out
just
in
like the final 5
rain.
minutes.
When
of the movie.
Beetlejuice is about to marry Lydia.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
The musical dance.
Oh, I don't remember the
It is
song,
very,
but I do remember.
very long.
Okay.
it was a
okay.
weird sequence.
Yeah, I was like, well, so we're still doing this, guys. Okay.
Well, we can get to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my second fact is for the first movie, up for the role of Delia Dietz, instead of Catherine O'Hara, who I think is perfect for this role. They were thinking about Angelica Houston.
Oh, yeah, I read that too.
And that
She
would
got
be-
sick.
That'd be a very different movie.
That was at Beetlejuice Trivia. Kevin and I
Oh,
got
cool.
third place at Beetlejuice Trivia a week or two ago. We won a drinking glass that says "Never Trust the Living" on it, which is apparently a quote from Beetlejuice.
It is. It's Juno the caseworker says it.
Oh,
Never trust the living.
And notably, we were in first place for all of these substantive questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then they asked a question that
That
was
seems to
like,
happen a lot with you guys.
it was like, "Do you always dress this nice or something?" And
Yeah.
there was like an actual point earning right answer for it, and you're supposed to be like, "No, I dressed up for trivia
That's lame.
But there was others like, no, I always look like this, or like dressed up. What do you mean dressed up? Like it just seemed like a joke question.
It was a joke question,
And-
but then it had points. And that moved us down to third place.
Third
and
place,
We
damn.
were outraged because the questions are really easy. So as soon as you get one wrong, you plummet to the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
The questions are like,
It's a steep curve.
Beetle blank is the titular character.
But you do it on your phone, and you get more points the faster you
Oh.
hit the button. So it's
Oh, I
like
would
very,
not succeed at
it's
that.
very stressful. There are like
Oh, I'd be so good
30-something
at that.
questions.
But there will be like a couple that are kind of difficult, like who was the production designer?
Yeah.
And I got that one.
Mhm.
And who are the screenwriters? And I got that one.
You gotta study.
Because I study, it's straight out of IMDb.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't reveal my secrets, but
That's
I
what I
just
do.
study IMDb before we go. And then there are a couple hard questions, and we won Alien Trivia because I knew the couple of hard questions. But most of the questions are really like Beetle blank, Beetle blank, Beetle blank.
All right. My next question is, what is your relationship to the first Beetlejuice
Hold on, wait.
movie?
We got to do reviews.
Oh, review. Okay.
I do have some.
Me too. I went first to Rotten Tomatoes and I was reading them and I was like, none of these are fun. And
Gotta
then
go to Letterboxd.
oh, well, I know. I was just abruptly like, what am I doing here? To Letterboxd.
I have many, and I think we should all have all the ones we want.
Do whatever you want. Do whatever
I think
you
my
want.
favorite one was LeBron's favorite movie, so it goes up half a star. You know, LeBron. It's LeBron's favorite
James?
movie.
Oh.
Of the original one?
Beetlejuice singular.
That's funny.
One person tried to be gagged, but wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I am also sorry.
Gagged is good right
Gagged
now,
is
right?
good.
Okay.
Yeah, Gagged
okay.
is good. That last one's not that good, actually. Okay, I'm done. That's Beetlejuice singular. Beetlejuice. Bob deserved better, which is 100% correct.
Uh-huh.
That's bullshit. What happened to Bob?
Mhm.
Bullshit. Great performances and practical effects, but it's just things happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
This franchise should have stayed dead.
This is my favorite of the original Beetlejuice on Letterboxd. So Letterboxd is one of my favorite places on the internet for reviews because it's just people trying to out-funny each other. And my somebody gave it 4 stars and just said, Winona Ryder, Winona Ryder, Winona Ryder.
So I have 2. The first one is 4 stars from Wizzy Will. And Wizzy Will said, who up juicing their beetle right now?
Beetle Jussie.
And then Cookie gave it 3.5 stars, loving whatever movie Willem Dafoe thought he was in.
Oh, she was serving in this movie. Willem Dafoe was the best thing about this movie, in my humble opinion.
Every time the woman handed him a cup of coffee,
Ah, it was so good.
Kevin would just scream with laughter.
I thought it was the funniest gag.
Well, I was
was the same.
Is this from something?
Every time.
I don't.
No,
what is
he's just
happening?
playing one of those stupid detectives from TV. And
Yeah.
so it's just like tropes from that shit. It was so good. I loved
It's
it.
kind of like Wes Anderson-y too. Like,
Yeah, a little bit.
because he's in
Yeah.
a lot of those movies now, so yeah.
Ah, it was so good. That was the only good part of the movie. Ooh, controversial.
Ooh.
I don't know. I thought it was fun. Let's get into it. Let's talk
Let's
about
do
it.
Oh yeah, so your relationship to Beetlejuice. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s as a child, and this movie was always on TV, so it's like part of my DNA at this point.
Yeah, I have no idea when I
Yeah,
first saw
no
this
idea
movie.
either.
Yeah.
I was able to quote this movie by the time I got to late middle school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking someone in the eyes and going, I am alone. I am utterly alone.
My whole life is a dark room.
I myself am strange and unusual. It's so funny. She's so good.
And that's the first movie is so quotable.
It's so
I
good.
couldn't tell you one line from the second movie.
Yeah, to be fair, I've
Oh,
only
I
seen it
can.
once.
I
Yeah.
I wrote down a couple.
Oh, you got some lines?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
The dialogue was just like, just went
think-
right past me.
I think one thing it might be worth talking about is all of these remakes, you know, or requels. Movie making is just very different from 30 years ago. Like, movies were so much slower back then. I've been watching a lot of movies from the 60s, and those are like infinitely even slower. I think Beetlejuice is just made in the modern, like, super fast. Everything's funny. 5 plot lines.
5 plot
It
lines.
did feel
Too
like
many plot lines.
a bunch of skits thrown together instead of a movie. I enjoyed it. I had fun watching it.
It had good vibes.
But I did think it was just like going from skit to skit. But something I did like was the part where, this will lead me to my favorite quotes. The part where the boy who turns out to be a bad guy goes to customs and immigration, and and he gives Beetlejuice his passport, and then Beetlejuice opens a trapdoor and sends him to be incinerated in hell, I guess. And I was like, oh, I love that he's just gone.
Yep.
And it made me think of Jupiter Ascending, where she just goes from like boss to boss to boss, and you're like, oh, is one of them gonna come back? Nope. Once they're dead, they're just gone. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And I mean, I'm not saying I want that from every movie, but I was kind of like, oh, good, he's gone.
That is two things those movies share is the idea of like a crazy bureaucracy.
Yes.
One is space and one is the afterlife.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how old the writers of this were, but I saw something on Blue Sky the other day. I don't remember if it was an article or just some discussion, but basically about how younger writers now are kind of poisoned by reality TV in that they don't write like an overarching plot. It is just kind of things happening.
Huh.
I think we have such
Controversial statement, Kevin.
We have
Young people today.
Oh.
We just have such short attention spans. Like, I was watching Psycho last night for the first time. I'd never seen it. I put it off because I've seen every clip of it. I know every twist. So I was like, what's the point? But I watched it, and like those old movies, they'll sit in the same scene for 6 minutes. Kind of like with Beetlejuice. Like, new movies nowadays, like they change shots like every 20 seconds.
Have you seen the movie In the Dark of Night?
I don't think so.
Kevin, have I seen that movie?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
It's a recent movie, and when I was watching this movie, I was thinking about this because that is a movie it's a new movie that will sit. It just sits. Like there's one scene where it's just looking at a radio, and you're just getting you're getting information out of the radio, and it's like you do not see that ever. It does take place in the 50s, which I think probably matters a little bit, but I
think art films still do it.
Horror movies still do it.
Yeah, and but popular movies that are going to go like Beetlejuice are going to be like, bam, 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 bam. Here's Monica Bellucci. Here's Danny DeVito.
Well, you know what's funny is I actually felt like the first movie was more chaotic in a good way, but this movie was longer.
Yeah, well, every movie's long now.
The first movie was more chaotic, but this one was more confusing, if that makes sense, because they bounced around so much. And it definitely had too many B plots.
Yeah, they needed to let things breathe a little bit more.
Yeah, 100%.
It was kind of all B plot.
Yeah.
What was the A plot?
I have no. I listed the
it's all
plots.
B-plot.
I listed the plots because I couldn't figure out what was the main one. In fact, it was Dead Dad ×2, Mad Daughter, Weird Lydia Boyfriend, Evil Teenage Ghost, Beetlejuice's ex.
Yeah.
There was so much dead dad. I was like,
So much dead dad.
why is he such a presence in this movie? I thought it was weird.
And then Dead Dad shows up. That is some soap stuff right there.
But with the fish, that was really
Really funny. That was objectively funny.
You guys told me that actor is like a bad guy.
No. The old dad,
Oh, Ed Jones. No, Jeffrey Jones, who plays
Lydia's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Astrid's dad shows up in hell.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
with
mean,
the
they're both
fish
in hell,
chomping
but
all over
Two
him. Oh, yeah,
separate
yeah, yeah.
dads.
Well, I was really pretty glad about how many times they killed the pedophile, which was
true.
pretty funny.
And it was in like claymation. It was like watching Celebrity Deathmatch. It was awesome.
Animation in the first movie was so much better.
I thought so too, and I thought the sandworms looked way better in the first movie.
Yeah, that
I was
sandworm glow up
confused.
was not.
Yeah, it was
for
not
me.
a glow up. It was a glow
Although I
down.
was glad the sandworm finally got to eat somebody.
Yeah.
He's been so hungry.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get through this whole movie without having to see Jeffrey. What's his last name?
Jones.
Jeffrey Jones.
But then they put his face on the tombstone, and he had to get paid for that, and I'm not happy about that.
What, is he dead? I
No,
thought
he's
he was
just
not dead.
was just
excised from culture now.
Oh.
I did like how the voice for the headless corpse of him was just like, wasn't even trying to sound like that. It was just obviously a different person.
And I liked the effect of when he talked and the little blood spurted out of his little
Yeah, that was
little
funny.
tubes. It was funny.
It was just sort of strange to me, like the first 20 minutes. I was like, why is this guy such a presence? Like, he could have died off camera. Like, we could have started the movie and been like, oh, when Dad died a few years ago or something. And
I think it's because he was a big part of the movie, maybe? Of the original movie, anyway.
Also, I think Tim Burton, one of the points of first Beetlejuice, and I guess this one, was to get as many types of effects into it as he could.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I think telling the story of that guy dying was a way to put in that animation.
Yeah, unlike the first Beetlejuice, this had like the Italian horror interlude.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It definitely jumped around genres. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. The whole plot with the boyfriend was kind of like an American Horror Story plot line, which is funny.
yeah.
But like the first movie, like it was like the effects were supposed to be purposefully bad because he was going for this B movie.
It was so
like,
good. Yeah.
Effect. This one was it felt slicker and it felt Hollywoodier.
I love in the first movie the model when they're tiny and they're in the model and they're digging and it's like
it's so
torn
good.
up bits of cardboard that they're digging. And I just think it's so good. And apparently they had like no money to spend.
Yeah. Well, it was only his second movie, Tim Burton. So like,
really?
now he's like one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood. So he could spend $1 million. It's kind of like the George Lucas effect.
Yeah, I don't think these movies always benefit from more money.
I agree.
Totally.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
totally.
I agree. But like,
I mean, they can still afford Michael Keaton and Catherine O'Hara and Winona Ryder, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I would like to say that Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice in this movie was perfect.
Oh, still got it.
It to me, it was like there was perfect continuity of his like physical acting, his voice, his faces, with all the makeup on. Like
he didn't have makeup on his neck at one point, which I learned from drag queens is bad.
I didn't even think he looked particularly older because you know Beetlejuice was like crusty anyway, so you don't get a good look at his face. But I was just like
wearing kind of a fat suit in the first movie too.
Yeah,
he sounds great. He looks great. He moves exactly right. I was just like, whoa, this is fantastic.
He's still so funny too.
So funny. He was so funny.
Still perfect. Yeah. People who still got it include Michael Keaton and Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine, she's just playing
Moira
Rose.
Yeah.
That's why I kept wondering, like, if it was difficult for her not to slip back into that cadence.
They're very
I was
similar.
looking for it. I was like waiting for her to.
The Beetlejuice.
But I think the way she played the character, I don't know, this may be controversial too. The way she played the character in this movie felt different than the first one.
Yeah, I think so.
I actually liked it because I felt like she had like mellowed out a little bit, and
I don't know if I believe the character changes. Like I fucking hated Lydia in Beetlejuice.
Lydia
What
or
did they do to
Delia?
her? No, Lydia.
You hated Lydia?
Yes, Lydia went from being this
in the new one.
smart, cool, stubborn, like dark person in the first movie to this like wimp in the second movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what happens though. Like we grow up and we become regular people with gas bills and stuff.
She wasn't so much a regular person. She was a pushover, and I don't think that's inevitable.
Well, they definitely like lampshaded that when Delia's like, "Where's the annoying goth girl that used to give me so much trouble or whatever?"
But there's no indication in her. I guess maybe we're supposed to think maybe the death of her husband changed her or something. But she said their relationship was over for you.
He didn't even. Yeah, he didn't. He just left, which was very annoying to me. That I mean, this is like a real thing that I think happens in families. But like the dad left and the kid is just like, Dad's so much better, and I miss Dad, and I want to be with Dad. And I'm like,
that's not there.
He fucking left. He was like, I want to go to the rainforest. Bye, toddler, and just left. So I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to say that guy sucks, but what he did really sucked.
And then we needed him to get them back together in the end. That also really bothered me. That like,
well,
there's a lot of male-centered plots in this movie.
On the one hand, I was kind of okay with the idea that he had an opportunity to somewhat redeem him having abandoned his child. He was there and he was able to help, and that's good. Would that all of our parents could do something really helpful for us at some point, after you think it's all over. But yeah, the fact that she like thought of him as this heroic figure, and actually he had walked out on her, but then got to be a heroic figure.
Yeah,
sort of
it's
annoying.
really easy to idealize the parent that's not there.
It's sort of annoying. Yeah, the one who doesn't have to pay the gas bill.
Yeah, and doesn't have to discipline you. And doesn't have to be there every single day.
And she was a really nice mom.
She did seem like a nice mom.
Seemed nice.
Although I guess if she's been gallivanting around doing a TV show, I could see where there could be some
that's true
hard feelings, especially if she's like in a boarding school.
That's
true.
Yeah. And I think they're all rich too, so that kind of complicates things.
Yeah, it kind of goes to the too many B plots. Like, it's not clear why she was at a boarding school. Like, the thing with the dad, he just goes like, oh, I don't want to be the thing that's keeping you two apart, and like everything's better, but it's never explained like why she can't see him or see his ghost or like.
Yeah, they never came back to that.
I thought he was going to say, because he goes,
I thought he was
check
not gonna
on
be
you
dead.
all the time. Oh God, that would be dark. Well, he even said, he was like, I check on you all the time. I know you can't see me, and I thought he was going to be like, I make sure you can't see me, or just even something like that, which wouldn't have required a lot of story or anything. He could have just been like, I check on you, but I make sure you can't see me. Maybe she doesn't see him because he always appears behind her. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. He just is hiding from
Maybe
them.
she can't see every ghost, just generally.
Yeah, because if she could,
That'd be so many ghosts.
it'd be really crowded.
I mean, I guess we
Billions of
can't
ghosts.
assume that everybody's a ghost. It's not like every dead person's a
It
ghost.
seems like it.
But there's the whole afterlife where those people aren't ghosts.
Where they take the soul train.
Well, yeah, the people in
love the
the
soul train.
afterlife aren't ghosts.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
No, that's the whole point.
They're
of the
just
first movie.
souls, or
The people who can't leave or can't get into the
Oh,
those are the ghosts.
Oh, like Barbara and Adam Maitland, they had to stay in their. They were supposed to stay in their house for 125
He
years.
wouldn't be able to be a ghost. But they can't just come and go all the time.
Apparently they can.
There's some.
It depends on what we need.
inconsistencies
Yeah,
here.
it changed the rules, and I don't understand why the Maitlands and Murder House Kid were trapped in their houses, and everyone else goes on the Soul Train. Like, why are some people stuck in houses?
Maybe Soul Train is moving on.
Why were Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin stuck in the house?
That was just what it said they had to be in the house. They had to haunt the house for 125 years.
Them's just the rules.
But then,
I guess otherwise there's not a movie if they can't.
yeah,
have to
that's
stay
right.
there.
And then Lydia was like, we figured out a way around it, which I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Just don't pretend that it wasn't a rule.
Yeah.
But I was fine with her just being like, we figured it out.
Well, yeah, they just didn't want to have them because ghosts don't age, and so having an old Alec Baldwin would be weird.
I was sad not to see them, though.
If
I
they
love
can have
them
an
so much.
AI Ian Holm in
Yeah.
Alien Romulus,
That's true.
then they can have an AI
Gina Davis.
I would have loved to have seen Gina Davis, and she could just be like, well, me and Adam separated after 75 years of haunting. I was like, I don't actually like him anymore.
You would get sick of
Plus,
anybody after 70.
She hasn't really aged that much, so I was like,
looks great.
I
Looks
think they could pretty easily de-age her. Or she could even be like, well, yeah, we were like parenting Lydia and trying to feel like we had a normal life, so we chose to age her because they can change their appearances. So a ghost could theoretically be like,
I decided to age.
I decided to age.
That's true.
Do you guys low-key think you would not be confused by the handbook for the recently deceased?
What do you mean
Like,
confused?
do you feel like you'd be able to read that thing and
So
figure it out?
I feel like I would nail it. Because if
Yeah.
Otho can do good, I
You
can
can't
do it.
confuse me with that book. I'll be able to figure it out. That's my thought.
Also,
I'd be able to figure
I
it
got
out.
nothing but time if I'm haunting a house.
I guess I would have been confused because I don't know what you guys are talking about. Is it confusing?
Yeah, like the whole one of the little running gags in the first movie is that nobody can make heads or tails with this book. It's really confusing.
Adam says it reads like stereo instructions.
Oh, I do remember that.
Maybe.
Okay.
I just feel in my heart I'd be able to figure it out.
Same.
I don't know why people weren't more focused on that book. Seems like that's where you get all your answers. Sit down and give it a study.
A lot of people don't like books. You'd be surprised.
But back then there was no phone to scroll, so you would think like people were just generally better at reading. I was.
Adam had model houses to build.
He did.
That's true.
And Gina Davis had wallpaper to put on.
Flowered house dress.
He got her wallpaper for her birthday.
He sure did.
But I was like, you know what?
She seemed pretty pumped about it.
Maybe it was very fancy wallpaper, though.
I've looked at the price of wallpaper. If someone wanted to get me wallpaper, I would be pumped.
So one time for Valentine's Day, Kevin got me a giant box of baked barbecue Lays because I really like them. And I mentioned it at work, and one of my coworkers goes, that's a man who knows his woman. Seems like that would
chancy gift.
otherwise be a chancy gift. But yeah, I was delighted to open a box of 60 bags of potato chips that I like. So maybe Adam Maitland was just a man who knows his woman. They did seem to really like each other, which is nice.
Yep. I was bothered that the movie is called Beetlejuice, and it's spelled Beetlejuice, but the guy's name is Beetlejuice, like the star.
Yeah.
So Beetlegeist, and I don't understand. But then on Wikipedia, the guy who edits the Wikipedia page, he said the title character is variously spelled Beetlegeist, Beetlejuice 2 words, and Beetlejuice 1 word in the film script and credits.
I think it'd be harder for the
What
average
even
person.
is spelling?
Yeah.
We're all saying the same thing.
Beetlegeist.
Beetlegeist.
Yeah, I saw something about that. Like they thought that spelling it the star way would be too like off-putting as a title, or like people would think it was like an astronomy movie or something. So like Beetlejuice just.
Can you
seemed
imagine
goofy.
all the astronomy bros in the theater being like, I thought this was about stars.
I like cheap Halloween costumes call him a juice demon because they can't say Beetlejuice. And then Wednesday,
Juice
from Adam's
demon.
family is midweek cutie. I love the fake name.
Whoever's doing copy over there has got
So
it.
good.
Got it down.
I really want a flowery sheet ghost costume.
I am getting one for a party on Saturday.
Flowery sheets are hard to find.
Amazon right now.
So cute in the first movie, their little sheets.
They're so cute.
Amazon has right now. I've ordered them. They are $12 a piece, twins, and one is little dots, kind of like Adam. And then Gina Davis has like a paisley, and they are literally $12 a piece on Amazon right now.
For a sheet or a costume?
For a
pair of
It is
sheets.
for a
actually
twin
the bed
sheet
sheet.
set. Yeah.
A twin sheet set.
Yeah.
It's not being marketed as a costume.
No. It's
I
just twin
understand.
sheet sets on
It's
Amazon for
actual
$12.
sheets.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and it's and there's 30 different designs to choose from, and I found the 2 that look most like the ones.
What are you going to do about having no feet?
Well, so it's going to be an outdoor party. And it's going to be hot, so we're going to come as a sheet ghost and take them off, and we have skeleton costumes underneath.
I love that.
I think it's time for me to get a classic skeleton costume. I've always wanted one.
Tipsy Elf on Amazon has a storefront. It's like $60. Mine, I got a medium. It's perfectly high quality. It has the hood that you zip up, and it's a skull face.
Yeah.
So they're good.
We have skeleton onesies, but it's like kigurumis that are like warm, so it's always too warm on Halloween for them.
Why did so many people get pregnant with Beetlejuice's baby
So gross.
without their consent?
I don't know what's going on with that baby. Is the baby okay? Is the baby real?
Why did he drop kick it?
I don't know.
I'm just not into the non-consensual
really didn't like
pregnancies.
the
And then
baby.
is the new baby the new Beetlejuice? Is the baby new Beetlejuice?
I don't know. Does it still exist?
What was
I don't
that
know.
ending? I don't know.
I don't know.
I have to assume that's kind of like fantastical.
It's an extension of him. You know? He's just like,
I mean, he's a demon. He can't really be destroyed like that, right?
oh yeah, I assume he's fine.
They turned him into paper or something.
I assume he's fine.
Yeah, he survived the last bit when he got a shrunk head.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
He was eaten by a sandworm and got
He's
his head
fine.
shrunk at the end of the last first
Yeah.
one.
He was
so.
eaten by a sandworm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Yes, that's my
they come-
feminist favorite. Actually, I'll just jump ahead to
Gina
that.
Davis comes.
Like Lisa Al Gaib, she's riding the sandworm.
Oh, that's right.
and it eats him.
I totally forgot
And
about
she
that.
is doing a better job riding him than early days Paul.
Yeah.
So I think maybe she's the Kwisatz Haderach.
I was real pumped that sandworm got to eat because I forgot about that part.
Yeah, you finally got.
Y'all got to go back to 1990 and watch this movie every day after school.
Well, I watched it really recently.
Yeah.
I just forgot. That part. I was gonna ask you guys an important question, which was, I lost it.
Another fun fact while you're looking for it. At certain points in the original Beetlejuice, what's the name of Delia Deese's husband? What's his name? Do we know? I don't want to call him
Oh, I
Jeffrey Jones.
forget.
Mr. Dietz.
Mr. Dietz is wearing a red.
Charles.
Charles Dietz is wearing a red sweater, and then at various scenes, Delia's wearing it like as pants, as a shirt tied around. It's so funny.
I remember when I told you I was going to Beetlejuice trivia, and you were like, "You need to know this." She wears a sweater as pants, but you know what? That didn't come up because that would actually be a good trivia question.
like,
And
what-
Instead, it was like, "What's the last name of the family that moves into the house?"
What kind of bug is in the title of the movie?
Who played
Who played Beetlejuice?
Barbara Maitland? That one actually got me because I was I was memorizing their names beforehand, but for some reason seeing it as Barbara Maitland, I was like, wait, which one's Barbara Maitland?
That's Gina, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, and they
But I
come
had-
up as little color, different color-coded answers on your phone, and I'm leaning over to Kevin, I was like, "Red! Push the red one! Push that red one!"
And it is so loud in there that I can't hear a thing you're saying when you're.
But you don't want to say it too loud.
You should make little cards of the right colors. You're gonna flash.
Oh yeah.
But then the people nearby would
Oh.
see.
Oh.
Let's talk about. So prior to this movie, I had never heard a Harry Belafonte song, and so I came to associate his music with this movie.
Oh yeah, me too.
And it's like
There's a whole generation of us that did that.
I know, but I was trying to think. So in 1988, when this movie came out, they were playing Harry Belafonte songs from the 60s. Technically, they should have done that with the new movie. It had something from the early 2000s, but I have no idea what that would
it's
have been.
Britney, bitch.
A Macarena?
Jump in the line.
You're gonna do the Macarena. That would be pretty funny to watch them do the Macarena.
The Macarena is not from the early 2000s.
Yes, it is.
No,
It's from 1996.
I had to learn the Macarena
When
Seventh
was
grade.
I?
In,
When was I in high school?
in middle school. I had to learn that
Yeah.
in gym.
It was 1996.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
But that would have been funnier than
Whatever they did.
MacArthur Park. I
A
think.
Richard Harris song from the 60s as well.
Why was Beetlejuice lip syncing for his life so much?
Otherwise, he has to sashay away into the other.
Was that in the first movie?
No, I don't think
He lip synced so much.
No, they only lip sync in the Deo part, and that's meant to be scary.
And he did it 12 times, and he talked Spanish in a different voice.
I don't remember.
And Italian,
any of
too.
this.
Yeah.
In Italian, yeah.
I've tried really hard to pay attention to this movie. I have no idea.
You
what
didn't
guys are
notice
talking
how many times he sang songs?
about. Maybe I did. I just don't remember.
He said, "I'll be right."
Kevin,
here waiting
have I seen
for you."
Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Did you have your phone out though?
No.
Oh yeah.
I genuinely tried to pay attention. I remember a lot of it. For example, I'm going to say my quotables, my quotable quotes. So, I screamed laughing when Beetlejuice was doing the impromptu couples counseling
That
with
was-
Lydia and her boyfriend, and he goes, "Go ahead, spill your guts. I'll go first." And then all these guts just spilled out of him. I laughed so hard. And that was a callback to the first movie because it happened from behind him.
Yeah.
Like the scene where in the first movie where his face
Well,
is
he
like,
did that-
"Bleh," and we didn't actually see it from the front. And then the other one was, like I mentioned before, when the boyfriend goes to the passport window and he pulls his passport back and the stamp says "shit out of luck," and then he goes, as Dostoevsky said, later, fucker. And then pulls the level and he just goes out and gets burned up. I mean, Kevin and I laughed for like a minute at later, fucker. I don't know why, but it was so funny.
Which is also kind of a callback to the first movie. The one fuck you can get in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
Because they bleeped the
second
next
one.
That's right.
What was there was a fuck in the first movie?
Yeah, when he kicks the tree and it falls over and he shouts, "Nice fucking model!" Which is apparently a ad-lib because the tree was not supposed to fall over.
Oh,
I love that.
Around that
Fun fact. Thank you.
around that same scene, when they're like interrogating him to see like if he's qualified to be a bioexorcist, they're like, "Are you qualified?" And then he turns around and does the jack off motion. So I've been there, done that.
I think the only LOL moment I had in the new one that I can remember was when Delia goes to the take a number and wait room, and there's some burnt up Santa Claus sitting in the corner. And she goes, "Merry Christmas," and he goes, "Bye-bye, go." I thought that was hysterical.
I can't recall off the top of my head, but there are several good like sight gags.
Yeah, I laughed a lot during this movie.
I laughed at the coffee every time.
I don't think it was like a good overarching story, but I still had a lot of fun watching it.
Yeah.
I have no regrets from watching it.
I laughed a lot at Justin Theroux because he was like really leaning into being ridiculous and terrible.
I guess that's true. His character that whole storyline was so stupid to me. It was so stupid.
I do like that she was like a Ghost Adventures host.
They should have. I wish they'd done more of that. Like,
I would watch
have
that
her
show.
lean in, have her film everything.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
like that. That would have been great. Oh well. I have a couple bullet points that carried over from both films.
Ooh.
One of them is drink for every cultural appropriation.
Oh, okay.
We leaned hard into those shrunken heads, and we
Yeah.
can we talk about the Soul Train?
I was like,
The literal only black actors in this movie, except for the first guy who dies in France or whatever, or the French guy.
yeah.
So I saw a TikTok by a person of color, and I don't know if this is true. This is just their opinion. It was like, Tim Burton is notorious for not putting people of
Yeah.
color in
Oh,
his
yeah.
movie, and now
Yeah.
they're like, put them all on the Soul Train.
he is on record.
He has been on record, and
of
like
being like, it doesn't fit my.
so he did it,
Yeah.
but he gave them this very
Yeah.
caricature.
Yeah, and I remember
1970s.
saying out loud to Kevin while we were watching it, I was like, this scene is giving the impression that the afterlife is quite segregated.
Yeah.
It really
Everyone
is.
at the Soul Train seems to be having fun,
Yeah.
but why are the only black people there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
one of the-
it could be by choice,
That's true. They could be like,
by
they could be like Afterlife so white,
right?
and
Right.
they went to hang out there.
yeah, like
And it does seem fun there.
yeah, and it's a fun pun, but not
Yeah.
necessarily to do it that way.
It should have been a sight
Literal.
gag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of
Like
the
maybe the
Letterboxd-
conductor,
Yeah.
and then everybody
Yeah.
else.
one of the Letterboxd reviews was like, "Oh, this movie has more black people than all of the rest of his
Yep.
movies combined."
And they're in one room.
Yeah, and they're
In
not.
one- yeah, one
and they're
room.
not speaking characters.
And
Yeah.
boy, that scene went on forever.
Yeah.
The dancing,
Yeah.
yeah.
That gave me
another
like
one-
Austin Power vibes, kind of.
Oh,
Oh, it did
yeah,
kinda.
that's a good
yeah,
point.
it did kind of. Another one that carried over was no one's going to talk about the age gap, huh? So we have two movies with two teenage girls being preyed
Yeah.
upon by one is that boy who died 30 years ago should know better. That man's 30 years old. I don't care what you say. I know he's been in a house for 30 years, but he's 30
I don't think he wanted her. He wanted to use her to get
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
but he's like seducing this teenager.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And then Beetlejuice with Lydia in the first movie was real gross to me. And then he has a picture of her as a teenager on his desk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in-
it is real gross.
in the original script, they had to change the marriage because the other part was way too violent.
Oh no.
One thing that I appreciated about the first movie was that Gina Davis keeps being like, "I don't want that little girl."
Yeah,
around that
yeah.
creep."
Yeah,
So the
God
movie
bless her.
does say
Yeah.
Wonderful.
this is, and I appreciate that she's 15 or 16 in the movie, and that Gina Davis calls her a little girl because an
that is
older
welcome.
teenager, while I do think they have the right to make decisions and things like that,
Still
like
a child.
she's still a child.
Yep.
An older teen is a little girl, and men in particular should know that.
Yep.
And there's so much ogling in both movies. The first movie, Gina
I thought
Davis
this movie did
straight up
better.
gets groped.
Yes.
At least that doesn't happen in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a little better, I guess.
Tim Burton is not known for his feminist
Blech.
qualities.
It was
Yeah.
blech. Let's get the big blech from me.
I have something funny. That
Yeah,
happened.
let's get back to funny.
Well, maybe it's only funny to me. I don't know. When we were, well, I'm gonna hand this over to Kevin because you know better what happened than I do.
So we're watching Beetlejuice, the part where the piranha dad is like, "It's all good now. I can get you out of here. Go," and he like gets the ladder, and they start crawling out of the tomb. And like when they're at the bottom of the ladder, this like synthy like almost orchestral mono synth thing starts playing, and I'm like, that's different. That's not Danny Elfman. And then they start climbing up the ladder, and this like beat kicks in, boom, tsh, boom, tsh, and then like this like synth kind of syncopated synth line. I was like, oh, they're really doing something different. It's like it's Astrid taking over, so they're doing this kind of like retro 80s synth thing.
And it's like kind of a chase scene almost,
Yeah.
so it sort of
fit.
makes sense.
It totally fit. And then they start talking, and you can't really hear it. And I'm like, that's an interesting choice. And then singing starts. I'm like, this sounds like Cold Cave. How did I not know Cold Cave was in this movie?
And I was like, oh, I know this song.
And then the music keeps playing. And it turns out I had been streaming the new Cold Cave album that had come out that day, which is why I didn't immediately recognize it was a Cold Cave song, because it was the last song on the album that I'd only heard once. And somehow my Google Chromecast had not disconnected, and somehow at exactly the right moment when it fit the film, decided to start playing.
Maybe you have created the new Wizard of Oz, Dark Side of the Moon.
Maybe.
So I oftentimes, maybe my hearing is going. We've talked about this a little bit. I don't hear so good sometimes. So we're watching the movie, and I was like, I can't understand what they're saying, Kevin, when the music started playing. And for a second, I was
Did it help when you said, I don't understand what they're saying, Kevin?
Well, I think it helped Kevin realize something is very wrong here, because and I was like saying it loudly too. I was like, I can't hear them. Why can't I hear anything? I see their lips moving, but I don't know what they're saying. And then Kevin was like, oh, shit. My phone is playing Cold Cave. But it really did
It fit for like the first like
if
20
it had
seconds.
been a little bit quieter, I think we wouldn't have even realized that it wasn't part of the soundtrack.
That's awesome.
That makes
That was
sense.
funny. Little bit of segments.
Sure, we could do some segments.
My feminist favorite, which I mentioned already, is in the first movie when Barbara is Lisan al-Gaib and she rides the sandworm to Lydia's rescue.
That's a good one. I actually love how Juno just doesn't give in to their, they're like, help us. We're like, read the damn book. You'll figure it out. Haunt
She's
them.
like,
yeah.
you have instructions.
Yeah. And then her like throat opens up.
I'm hard pressed for a feminist favorite.
You didn't have to have one. It's fine. Kevin, do you have one?
I mean, because Gina Davis was a really cool,
She's such a cool
character.
She is.
I don't think there's an equivalent.
If you
in the
took
second
out
one.
all the grabbiness from the first movie, you don't even have to take it out. I really enjoy the female characters in the first movie.
Yeah.
Gina Davis is in a happy marriage. She likes her husband. She takes charge of things. He never tries to tell her not to do something. What's her name?
Delia rules the roost at her house.
She sure does. Lydia is living her own life. She's very funny. Juno is, she's the in-charge case manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about the female characters.
Not the second one.
To be fair, there's not a lot to like about any of the characters in the second one. They're just kind of like, because you only get 1 minute with each of them.
They go from caper to caper.
Yeah.
It's difficult to develop any
yeah.
attachment to them.
Even Jenna Ortega, who I think is maybe supposed to be kind of a grounding character, is a brat. I don't like her that much through most of the movie.
Which is funny because you could say the same thing about Lydia.
Totally. But there's
but her parents deserved it.
well, also, Lydia is so...
And she gets along with the Mayfield.
she's so campy.
Yeah.
I myself,
Her
am
veil,
strange
come
and
on.
unusual. It's
Dramatic.
so silly. She's so silly, and I think Jenna Ortega is a bratty teen without having anything silly about her. She's a regular bratty teen,
Right.
Yeah. Happens.
And why was Monica Bellucci in it?
That's my misogynist moment.
Just because she's
actually.
All right, let's move on. Misogynist moment.
Like,
Amy,
fucking
what's your misogynist moment?
Monica Bellucci. First of all, that woman doesn't age. She looks like $1 million.
She looks incredible.
Jesus Christ. She looks so good in this movie. Even stapled
she
together.
can swallow my soul any day.
I did like that she was a little corpse bridey.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
That was funny. But what the point
Yeah,
is,
I don't know.
I do not know. I think she's only in it because she is pretty.
The other thing I didn't understand was Beetlejuice trading Lydia marriage for helping the daughter. And I was like, okay, but what does he need out of the marriage? Like, I guess he just still likes her, but I
think
thought
he just likes her.
Well, I thought there was going to be like a sentence or two about how like, if I'm married to someone else, my ex-wife can't eat my soul. Like, I just thought that there was a reason, and there wasn't a reason. And so then I was like, this doesn't tie together.
I thought it was just an obsession. Like he and
Yeah,
a
I
little bit
guess.
of if I can't have you, no one can.
So Tim Burton has also dated Helena Bonham Carter and who's the other one?
I thought they were married.
They were, yeah, like they were together. I don't know, like they're married or not. And then some other woman. So he's very used to putting women that he finds attractive in their movies. This one just apparently had less of a speaking role.
She just sucked.
She does a lot of
Literally.
flowing and
She
sucking.
just flowed and sucked.
That first sign, though, or that first scene where she's stapling herself together to the Bee Gees song
It's
is so
fun.
cool.
It was cool.
It is fun.
Yeah, we could have stopped there.
I wasn't bothered by it. I mean, it would have been nice to have a more fleshed out plot, but I thought she was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, either like she was set up to be the big bad and then just like only showed up for a
Two
few
scenes.
scenes
Yeah.
and then at the end. And I mean, I did like the Italian Gothic interlude in the middle she was in. Like, it was
Yeah, that
kind of
was
worth it. So-
Who is the big bad in this movie?
There's too many. There's 5 big bads. It could be Justin Theroux.
The guy,
The boyfriend?
boyfriend who gets dispatched
Who
quickly.
shows up
Is it
45 minutes
is it
into the
family tension? Is family tension
movie.
the
The
big
real
bad?
Generational
monster
trauma.
was the family we had along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Perhaps. Generational trauma. Yeah. Mhm.
Out of order, but speaking of the Italian Gothic thing, I enjoyed the Kill Baby Kill shout out because the
Yeah.
the poster in the movie is the poster I have hanging by my TV. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was cute. I saw it and I was like, "Hey, I know that. It's right there." Have I seen Kill Baby Kill, Kevin?
Yes.
Thanks. My misogynist moment was Wednesday's dad leaving her for the rainforest. And then in the old one, it's when the realtor says, "This house is too big. It should be for a couple with a family."
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am.
I did like some of the continuity of like the daughter is now a real estate agent.
And then she just has a daughter named Little, her own name. That's also a feminist favorite, I think. It's giving Lorelai Gilmore.
Men have been doing it for generations.
It's the new junior.
That's right.
Little Haley.
Anybody got any boob talk? I don't think too much about boobs in these movies.
Yeah. I think I remember many boobs.
It's PG-13, so you can't have too much.
So
There was a little bit of arm candy in the woman who kept handing out the coffee. Like she didn't do anything except for be pretty and hand coffee out.
That's true. It was funny though. That was its own gag.
I wasn't mad at it.
Yeah. I think the answer to fantastical food is obvious.
Shrimp.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prawns. They're very big shrimp.
You know, I think watching the movie as a child so often, I wasn't sure what was happening in that scene. I just knew I liked it.
Right.
Yeah,
The
like-
singing is funny. The dancing is funny.
Like I think
It's iconic.
only in my adult life was I like, oh, that's Barbara and what's his face trying to scare them. But I was just like, no, it's just weird shrimp. Like and Harry Belafonte.
Weird shrimp and dancing.
That scene is so stupid and so funny, and it's like it lives in your brain forever.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a single scene in this new movie that will ever do that.
And Tim Burton did not think it would be funny.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, it's
which
so
makes
funny.
me question his judgment.
Well,
I love when they get up and they're all dancing and they just like move their butts in the air. It's a very specific part.
I remain in defense of, as Dostoevsky said, later fucker.
Later.
That was so funny to me.
I've also, yeah.
I did feel a little bad for Beetlejuice because he 100% upheld his end of this bargain.
He's not a bad guy in this, I don't
He's
think.
really, I mean, he's not a good guy,
Yeah.
but he's not really an antagonist.
Yeah, he's not
this
trying
one.
to, I mean,
He keeps his end of the bargain. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll help you save your daughter. And I mean, I'm not saying that she needed to uphold her end of the bargain of selling herself into marriage, but I was like, he didn't really actually do anything bad. Not compared to the first movie.
yeah.
I mean, he could have helped her without having her sign her name over.
But he's
in
a
in
demon.
blood.
Yeah. But he also has a white collar, respectable job. He manages those bobs.
Bob, John, Daryl,
He did
Gary.
make a Bob poses himself.
He
and
did.
then that Bob got
He was
eaten.
like, "They're gonna get you and not me, Bob." I mean, he's still a demon. I
He's a
guess.
demon. He's a demon.
Poor Bob.
But he's like a fun demon.
Justice.
He's
for
not like
Bob.
a conjuring demon.
I'm not a regular demon.
Yeah.
I'm like a fun demon.
He's the juice. We love him.
He's the kind of demon who's
juice.
like, if you're going to drink, I just want you to do it here in my underworld so I know that you're safe.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have to say about either one of these?
Is it
movies?
Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
I think it's Lord of the Rings. They're kind of, Underworld's kind of Mordor. They're kind of on a quest.
Yeah.
They're a motley crew.
All right,
Bits of Dune with the sandworms.
Absolutely.
a little bit of Dune.
Barbara
Yeah.
is Lisa Nalgaib.
There's nothing sci-fi about this.
No,
It's okay though. We still love it.
Oh, yeah. And I thought the new,
I'm not gonna go down. I'm not gonna put my name down as loving the second one.
I enjoyed the
gonna
second
throw that
one.
out there.
It was fun. I probably won't watch it as many times as I will continue to watch Beetlejuice 1, but
I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it again.
that's okay.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was like great or anything, but I had fun with it, and it was silly, and I laughed, and it was cute.
I have still yet to see a reboot where I'm like, this is better than the original. I don't think it's possible.
I'll have to think about that one.
Yeah.
The
But-
Thing,
Yeah.
The Fly.
Ooh.
Yeah, but those were already like 40 years old, though.
Uh,
Got some bad news.
I have bad news about Beetlejuice.
No!
Oh no! I'd like to report a murder.
Too old. But those were remakes, though, not reboots.
I am not old.
Sequels.
I swear. I think people usually like Aliens better than Alien, even.
Yeah, but that's just a sequel. Sequels are different than like a movie that, or like
This is technically a sequel, right?
yeah. But like it's like when they redid the X-Files like after 20 years. Like I was like, Mulder looks like shit. Scully
The
looks
interview
great.
with the vampire show is great,
That's
and I will
good.
not be taking questions.
Oh,
That is a good show. True.
At least the
I guess original cast redos. How about that?
newer X-Files has the Reese what's his name? The
Reese Darby.
Reese Darby
Yeah.
Lizard Man episode.
That's true. That was
that
good.
kind of made the whole thing worth it.
I think about all the time the scene where he's working in the cell phone store and he holds up the cell phone to a customer and he says, "As you can see, it's quite rectangular." I mean, probably every time I see a rectangle, I think to myself, "As you can see, it's quite rectangular." So sometimes reboots are good.
I think a lot about the quote from the first movie when they're leaving the dinner party and her agent is like, "Delia, you're a flake. You have always been a flake."
A flake. After I've been like assaulted by demons at your party, and the thing I have to say is, "You're a flake."
Also, the Wikipedia, just in the very first couple sentences of the plot summary, calls Delia a talentless sculptor. And I was like, ouch, that needs to be flagged. That's unfair.
Is she her sculpture of Beetlejuice looks just like him?
I agree. She does abstract. I mean, come on.
Does she have good taste? Maybe not, but that's an accurate recreation of Beetlejuice as a snake.
I'm just trying to imagine the person writing the summary like he just hates her. Like, oh, this talentless sculptor, this redheaded man.
He hates the twins.
I was just looking at reboots that are better than the originals.
What do you see?
I mean, there's
A lot of them prey on nostalgia, which I'm very subject to.
True Grit was really good.
Mm.
Apparently, Wizard of Oz is a reboot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Dune technically.
I think I'm talking about movies that have the same cast and their sequels a long time later, I guess.
Okay,
So,
that's more specific.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, like
I don't know how to Google that.
redoing True Grit with like a whole new cast is like a whole different thing.
Okay, gotcha.
But like the new Arrested Development, not as good as the first three.
I did watch that and it wasn't as good.
I didn't know it existed.
The new Sex in the City, not as good.
Nope.
Yeah. See, I mean, I think we want to love them so bad because we love these things. Like I love Beetlejuice. And the new one, that trailer when they do like the day and like the houses in mourning, it's perfect. But the
Hearing
movie's
that
fine.
song just gets you like,
I know.
oh
yeah.
boy.
Because you want to capture that feeling of the first movie, which you can't
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably need to watch it again in a couple of years.
Yeah,
and like see
yeah.
if I feel better about it because I did just watch the first
Yeah.
one not very long ago. So
I mean, I didn't hate it, but it's never going to take the place of the first one in my heart. There's no way it could.
I rarely think reboots are worth it.
Same, yeah. But then I still give them my dollars
It's
though.
killing original content. Too,
Oh,
'cause,
we
like,
did like
Yeah.
the Ghostbusters with Kate McKinnon, etc.
Oh, that
we
was
did
good,
like
yeah.
that. That was fun.
That was fun.
Technically,
A different type though, because it wasn't the same.
didn't have the
characters.
same character.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because there's the new ones with the little girl and the family.
They do have the same.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
They're fine. Those actually have Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, but like in a different capacity. I guess Arnie Hudson's in it too. I've seen them. They're not great.
Well,
Anything else?
I guess that's it.
We Beetlejuiced.
And Beetlejuice.
I do love that they named the movie Beetlejuice.
That's cute.
That was a good idea.
Okay, coming up next. In December, we will be doing Red Mars by Kim Stanley Robinson, which did not win the Hugo, but Blue and Green did. And apparently you got to read this first.
Yep.
And that's a lot of reading. And thank us for our service. And I have started it though, and I like that it opens with a murder. And
It's
everybody
at least
has
easy to
said,
read.
well,
Well,
everybody has said that
that
Red
first-
Mars is the best one, and that they
Oh, no,
think
really?
that the voters
I
were
like it,
trying to
yeah.
reward Red Mars, which didn't win.
Oh,
We're
interesting.
kind of trying to reward him for giving, by giving the next two.
I
Yeah,
like
why'd
I
they-
like Red Mars.
Why'd
Yeah.
they do it twice?
Huh?
But then why'd they do it twice?
I don't know. Maybe they're secretly good. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I made that up.
Oh no, I've definitely seen that, but I didn't understand that explanation because why'd they do it?
Maybe they're good. I don't know.
Red Mars
They're just so long.
Red
That's my
Mars
thing.
definitely starts out more exciting than it is for most of the book.
Oh, great.
So,
I just have a
It's at least
kind of
easy
a
to read.
it is easy.
Yeah.
bias against a very long book. I look at it and I go, oh no.
I like long books.
I only get mad if it's a book I don't like.
Well, okay then.
Okay, December, Red Mars. And the reason we're doing it in December is red. The Santa Claus wears red. It's on theme.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, it's thematic. January, Deepness in the Sky.
I hope it's better than the other one.
Butterfly in the sky.
The other one is really
Does
good.
it have- does it
We
have-
can fight about it.
Does it have 75% less dogs?
I think it does, didn't they? People said there were no dogs.
Oof, I'm happy.
dogs.
In February, A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martine.
Our space president. Yes.
Madam President. And in March, The Wanderer by Fritz Leiber, almost universally regarded as a piece of shit book, which our friend Emmanuel Dubois said is a lot shorter but feels even longer than Red Mars.
I think we're going to need something like that after reading those 3 books ahead of
Yeah, after reading 3 good, very long books, let's read a short piece of shit.
Yeah. I'm all about it.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Goodbye.
Okay. Bye.
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 Happy Halloween.
Woo!